Hi, I'm EllaAradia, and welcome to your Psychic Tarot love reading. This reading is for my Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius fire signs. The timestamps are below, where we'll be taking a deeper dive into your person's hidden feelings for you. This is a love reading, and it's for those of you who are already connected with someone. Even if you are currently in no contact with your person, this will be a very specific message, so it may not resonate for all of you. If it feels right, then it's meant for you. Otherwise, you may want to check out the readings for your other placements, so Sun, Moon, Rising, or Venus. And before we jump in, a big thank you to all of you who are supporting my channel by liking and subscribing. So if you enjoy this reading and you haven't already done that, please do. It helps the channel out a lot. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe, and then you get notified when the next videos are up. So Aries, let's jump in. So I always like to tune into the energies first, Aries, before I start pulling cards. I'm also a psychic reader. I like to see what the universe shows me. I'm feeling already you're dealing with someone that's giving you mixed signals, because there's a real kind of lack of clarity and what feels like a bit of a breadcrumb energy to me. I feel like you're dealing with someone they're kind of there in some ways. They're giving you just enough to kind of keep you there, but they're not taking that next step. They're not giving you that further commitment. And so there is this lack of clarity around, where is this going? Where do you really stand with this person? Do you want the same things moving forwards? With your overall energies, we have the Empress. That's an energy of rebirth, new beginnings. But it almost feels to me like, something really needs to be let go of, a certain dynamic in this connection, a behavior or a way of being or something like that, in order for there to be, some kind of rebirth or new beginning. Sometimes this is a card of fertility for some of you. This is the mother energy, the nurturing energy, and it can represent, family and things like that. But it really is, it's a new beginning of some sort, some kind of renewal or rebirth. With your person's view of you, we have the Queen of Swords. Now, I feel that's what's gone down here. I feel like you have, come to a point with this person where I do feel there's a need to, take your power back. And with this being their view of you, I'm getting the sense, Aries, that you have kind of put your cards on the table and you've spoken your truth around, I feel, what you want, what you need from them, and more importantly, what you will and what you won't accept in terms of, the way that they are showing up. And I do feel that, these have been, some quite uncomfortable truths for the person that you're dealing with. And I do feel like it's taken you a lot of courage to do this, because there's a little bit of a fear around letting go, because I do feel that you have always seen a potential with this person. In some ways, you do have some kind of connection with each other, which, when you are close, things are great. But then there's this kind of, these other aspects that are going on, these other dynamics where, this person that you're dealing with is just not taking that next step up. Their feelings towards you, Temperance. I feel like this conversation has illuminated perhaps some of their, let's say, issues that they might have been avoiding, they might not have been wanting to look at. And it may be that at the moment they're a little bit triggered, they might be a little bit closed off from you, and they may have kind of pulled back at the moment. Because I do feel like you've shone a spotlight on something here. And what you've shone a spotlight on is really, you know, their shortcomings and what needs to change. And of course, in order for things to change, that is going to require the person you're dealing with facing some of their fears and insecurities. I feel like you're dealing with someone that might have a little bit of a commitment issue here. They might have a fear around, you know, opening their heart, being vulnerable. I feel like love may equal loss. Love may equal pain or sadness for them. And that might be, you know, what the fear of taking the next step is all about. If I open up, you know, what if things go wrong? What if I end up getting my heart hurt again? Their intentions towards you, the Four of Cups. So for those of you, you know, that are in a no contact situation right now, because sometimes when truth is spoken with this Queen of Swords energy, you know, that's all you can do on your side is really speak your truth. And how that is received is something you can't really control. And sometimes the person that you have spoken that truth to, you know, can get triggered and they might close off, they might shut down. And sometimes space is needed, because this feels like your person to me that's taken a step back. They're kind of sitting under that tree there and they've needed to take that time out. Because, you know, when there are those initial emotions that come from somebody being triggered, it's not until that starts to settle that they can actually reflect and really take a deeper look at, you know, how have I been showing up in all of this? What's truly important to me? What do I truly want? What do I want for my life? Because on some level, I do feel that the person you're dealing with does want love. There's just a fear, you know, there's a fear to embrace it, because to embrace it involves opening up and being vulnerable. But deep down, you know, I don't feel like they want to lose you. Your feelings towards your situation, the Hanged Man. So you're both in a moment of a pause here. I do feel like there might be, you know, some distance between you, whether that's emotionally or actually physically as well. You've taken a step back. The Hanged Man is all about, you know, gaining a new perspective on things. It's not so much the energies of the Hermit, which is more going within, looking for answers. The Hanged Man is taking a step back and looking at an external situation through fresh eyes. And I feel like you've faced a lot of truths, you know, that you see the potential, you see what something could be, you know, especially with the energies of the Empress as your overall energies there. But you've also, I feel, found the courage to face the reality of the situation where, you know, something's not feeling aligned, you're settling for less somehow, you know, you're getting these breadcrumbs, but you're not really getting that full commitment that you really want. And that was always the invitation to speak your truth, stay true to you, have those healthy boundaries and not settle for less. And what I do feel that will come from this, because we have Temperance here, and this is a card of healing. It's about balance, and it is about, you know, your person integrating, you know, those fears, those insecurities. And what I do feel will come from that is your person stepping up here with this cup of love. I feel like that's their intention, to come back forward to you. And, you know, it's always a risk when we lay our cards on the table and we speak our truth. There is always a risk. It creates an invitation, and the person that you're dealing with, you know, they either step up to that or they choose to actually move on, and, you know, and it's a no. But what I always say to people is, you know, if you were to stay in it the way that it was, you never really had that person anyway, because they weren't giving you what you truly wanted. And if that is the case, it is to let something go, you know, because that will make space for what you do really want to come in. But in this case, you know, I feel like there's been a big shake-up. Things have been spoken. Person's got triggered. They've pulled back. There's space between you. But what does come from that is reflection and healing and change. And the person that you're dealing with, I feel, stepping back forwards towards you. So in the challenge is the Fool, you know, some kind of new beginning here. That's what's currently going on. You know, the Fool is all about some kind of fresh start, a new beginning. And in order for that to happen, something needs to change. And that's the challenge here. The hidden influence, the Three of Swords, separation, heartbreak, sadness, a sense of loss. And what I'm feeling about, you know, that card being in the hidden influence. So the hidden influence is really something that is impacting the connection that you might not be aware of. And I feel like what you might not be aware of is the importance of space. And I feel like it's been, you know, for those of you that are in no contact, quite a challenging kind of moment. And it often brings up a lot of anxiety in people to kind of bridge that gap, to reach out, bridge that gap. There's a lot of uncertainty in these moments of a pause, of space. But separation and space is something that's very powerful, because what they have faced in this situation is the potential loss of the connection with you. And sometimes that's something that is needed. Somebody needs to face that to really realize, you know, what they stand to lose here. So in your guidance, we have the Knight of Pentacles. This is, you know, the slowest moving knight in the tarot deck. It's really these energies of going step by step, one foot in front of the other. And that is the energy that, you know, you need to move forwards in. You know, it needs to go one step at a time, you know, because, you know, it's all very well somebody, you know, coming back to you, stepping up in that moment, but they need to be able to really sustain that moving forwards. So one step at a time, you know, trust needs to be earned. If trust has been broken, it needs to be earned back. And what lies in your outcome is the King of Pentacles. So that's stability, security. And the King of Pentacles is the kind of partner who really wants to nurture you and take care of you. They want to provide for you. They want to look after you. They really want to pour into you and just create that sense of trust and stability. And, you know, with that being in the outcome, that's absolutely the potential that I feel is possible here if you can just get through, you know, what is happening right now. But what is happening right now, I feel, is something that is, you know, very, very necessary. So let's get your person's hidden message for you. So the hidden message is more for those of you who are in some kind of no contact situation. So Aries. We will be together again. I'm not available. That's the block. That's that fear of commitment that I was talking about. I'm starting to understand our connection, and that's the reflection that I was talking about. The timing just wasn't right for us. Doesn't mean it's not now. We both know I'm not the one for you. That's going to resonate for some of you that perhaps it might be time to move on. I couldn't let you get close to me. So Aries, I'm going to leave that there. We are going to move on to Leo. Hi, Leo. So let's see what we have for you. Let me do one more shuffle. Leo, feeling a few things coming through already. Okay, let's dive in. So I'd like to tune into the energies first, Leo, before I start pulling cards. Also a psychic reader, so I like to see what the universe shows me. I feel on your side there is a need. I feel like you're waiting for a commitment. Something needs to go to the next level. And I do feel for many of you, you might be dealing with someone who has a very strong work focus, career focus. And I'm getting the sense of it kind of taking up a lot of their time and you feeling like, you know, you're being neglected somehow, that they are not, you know, putting that time in, you know, in the connection with you. That you're wanting to spend more time with them. You're needing them to be a bit more present with you. And I feel on their side, you know, this might be a question of just really understanding each other's roles in this connection and needs, because when I feel into the person that you're dealing with, I feel like they are doing what they think is required for the connection. You know, they want to be at a certain financial level. They want to provide. They want to take care of you. And so there's this big focus on, you know, wanting to create that financial security, material security. But I just feel like it's taking a lot of their time and energy. And what's happening on your side is your emotional needs feel like they're not being met. And so there is an energy I'm feeling here, Leo, around feeling unsupported in that way. So with your overall energies, we have the Tower. So the connection, you know, may be hitting a little bit of a Tower moment right now. The Tower is an energy of change. Sometimes it can be sudden change, and it really represents the breaking down of anything that's built on illusions. It's the breaking down of what's false. It's the breaking down of perhaps certain dynamics which, you know, really are becoming a challenge. They're not working for you. And it's an energy where, you know, it's something breaking down which needs to break down. And the invitation with the Tower is to really embrace that, because it clears the path, you know, for something real. And it clears the path so that you can put things back together in a better way. So your person's view of you, we have the Four of Pentacles. This is someone that's holding on too tightly. And Pentacles represent earth energy, it's career, it's money, it's home. It represents someone who is holding on too tightly. There's a fear to lose, you know, what they have already worked to gain. And it can be an energy of control. It can also be someone that's holding their feelings quite close to their chest. It's quite a guarded energy. Their feelings towards you is the Ten of Swords. their intentions towards you, the Page of Cups. I don't like seeing this. The Ten of Swords, you know, this is some kind of, you know, sudden ending. And sometimes it's an ending which, you know, somebody may not have seen coming. Can sometimes represent a sense of betrayal, feeling stabbed in the back. Doesn't mean there's been an actual betrayal, but it can just be a sense of a betrayal. And it may well be that, you know, something has kind of really shaken things up with this Tower energy, and you may be actually separated at the moment with that Ten of Swords. Your feelings towards your situation, the Five of Swords, yeah, there's been some kind of conflict here. And Five of Swords energy is often an energy where it's a kind of battle where somebody is wanting to win. They're wanting to be right, even if there is damage to the connection. Because I do see harsh words being spoken. I definitely feel, you know, that this challenge that I was talking about at the beginning of, you know, both of you perhaps not really understanding the needs of the other, not really understanding perhaps what each of your roles are in the connection, has definitely created conflict. And it feels like this is something that's been going on for a while and it just hasn't been resolved. And so at some point, it just feels like, you know, the towers come in, everything starts crashing down. There's been conflict, there's been harsh words spoken. And I get the sense of both of you kind of digging your heels in and wanting to be right. And it may be that, you know, either both of you or one of you is feeling a little bit wounded, because sometimes I feel with the Five of Swords energies, sometimes it can be words that are spoken in the heat of the moment without thinking. What lies in the challenge is the Nine of Swords. There might be some energies of regret going on here, Leo. That might be you, that might be your person as well, around things that were said, whatever it is that has gone down. And it could be creating a lot of anxiety. You might be in the energy right now of kind of running back over, you know, whatever this conflict was, what has happened, regrets kind of creeping in. I feel like there's a fear that perhaps, you know, what has happened might mean the end. And there's a lot of anxiety about that right now. So it definitely feels like you're very closed off from each other at the moment. You may be in no contact. Your hidden influence is the Ten of Wands. So this is someone that, you know, you do have a history with. I do feel like this is a deep bond, and I feel like this is someone, if you're not married already, I definitely feel this is someone that, you know, that this is something that you see for the future with this person. May have been living together for a while and, you know, with a view to that further commitment. But there's something, you know, the Ten of Wands, it represents something that starts to feel heavy. Starts to feel like something that you're carrying that's weighing kind of heavily down on your energy. But it's also a 10, you know, so it does represent, you know, perhaps the ending of, you know, a difficult or challenging chapter, you know, in the relationship, because I do see the Page of Cups here as your person's intentions to you, that, you know, when the dust settles, when the emotions calm down, when, you know, when a person can then get in touch with their true feelings, they can reflect. And it's not until the emotions, you know, die down that somebody can really get into that energy of reflection to really work out what do they truly want. Because I do see this person that you're dealing with coming back forwards to you with the intention of, you know, some kind of new beginning. That's a new cup of love. That's a new offer of love and some kind of intention of renewal here. And I think it's important, you know, on both sides with that Five of Swords to focus on what's really important here. Let go of the need to be right. Now, that could be you or your person, but focus on what's truly important, because sometimes it might be about letting go of that and actually getting more into the energy of choosing resolution and honest, open communication. Because there is an invitation here. You know, the Tower doesn't have to mean the absolute end of something. It's just a moment where something breaks down that hasn't been working because it needs to, you know, find a different way forwards. It needs to be put back together in a different way. What lies in your advice is the Ten of Cups. This is, you know, emotional fulfillment, happiness, contentment. And I do feel that's linked to that Five of Swords with what I was just saying about focusing on, you know, what's truly important here. And, you know, what is the energy that really connects the two of you? Because it does feel like a deep bond to me, and it does feel like an energy of love. This person feels like a soulmate, your soulmates. And, you know, this is just a hurdle, and there's absolutely all the possibility here to kind of get through this, to get closer to each other, get on the same page and really work towards, you know, building, you know, that Ten of Cups and that emotional happiness. What lies in the outcome is the High Priestess. This is all about, you know, following your intuition here. The High Priestess, though, for me, it's a sense of knowing. It's the energy of she who knows. And when I see the Ten of Cups there, you know, and I feel like there's been history here, I feel like there is this sense of knowing between the two of you that this is a significant connection. There is something more. There is that soulmate energy, that bond of love. And, you know, this is just a Tower moment. And I do feel that, you know, give it a little bit of time. I do feel like you can get past this and get through this. And it's just about that communication and really understanding each other better, and it will put you both in a better place if you can do that. So let's get your person's hidden message. So the hidden message is more for those of you who are in some kind of no contact situation. So Leo, just being near you is intoxicating. I regret lying to you. So that's going to resonate for some of you, especially for those of you if there has been some kind of betrayal that's occurred. I want to feel that way again. I left before you could leave me. I feel you even though we are apart. So Leo, I'm going to leave that there. We are going to move on to Sagittarius. Hi, Sagittarius. So one more shuffle. Just need to do one more, actually. I always just get a feeling when the deck's ready. So Sagittarius, okay. Let's jump in. So I always like to tune into the energies, Sagittarius, before I start pulling cards. I just like to see what the universe shows me, what comes through. I'm also a psychic reader. I feel a new connection coming in for you, or has recently come into your life. And all I feel around this person is happiness and love, and somebody who's really ready to, you know, pour into you. But it feels like there might be somebody in your past that it doesn't feel like you're particularly connected to this person anymore, like physically. But it feels like there's some old energies that still need to be kind of resolved. It's like you've got one kind of foot in the past still. And it's preventing you from opening up to this new person that I'm seeing around you. Because, you know, what's coming in, or what has just come in for you, it does feel healthy, it does feel real. And, you know, I feel like this is someone who's ready. They're ready for commitment. Let's just look at your overall energies. So we have the Hierophant, which I love to get that in a love reading, because the Hierophant is... in a love reading, it speaks of connections which are built on shared values. They're connections which are built on, you know, these really strong foundations, shared beliefs, shared values. And, you know, it's a card of commitment and, you know, long-term commitment. And it sometimes comes in, you know, when someone is waiting for something to go to the next level, you know, moving in together, or marriage. But it's all about, you know, those types of connections which are really built on those strong foundations, which are so important. Because, you know, issues always come up in connections. You're two people in a connection. And if you have those strong foundations, you have that connection in that way, it's much easier to kind of deal with things as they arise and get through them. So with your person's view of you, the Seven of Cups, their feelings towards you, the Ten of Pentacles, their intentions towards you, the Hanged Man, your feelings towards this person, Five of Cups. For some of you, this might be somebody coming back around from the past, which can happen. You know, this new energy that I see coming in, or has recently come in, you know, sometimes when it's something that you see for the future for somebody, it can be somebody coming back around from the past, transformed, who is ready for that commitment. So it's almost like, you know, somebody, you know, healed, renewed, they're ready to step up, they've done that healing on themselves, they've done the work, and, you know, they come back forward and they're showing up differently. So for some of you, it can be that. Because, you know, when I see the Five of Cups there, I feel like this relates to this person in the past, a sense of loss, of sadness, of grief, of disappointment. And it's often a card of regret sometimes. But then there's these two cups which are still standing, you know, which represent something being, you know, salvageable. You know, there's a hidden blessing. There's still something that can be taken, that can be saved, you know, from this situation. Some of you may have been dealing with a player energy, because the Seven of Cups, it's often somebody who has options. Now that could be you, that could be your person. This is their view of you. So they might be seeing you as somebody that does have a lot of attention, you have a lot of options. Or it could be flipped, it could be round the other way. Because to me it feels like in some way somebody wasn't really stepping up to the table here. Because with their feelings towards you, the Ten of Pentacles, and that's all about, you know, working towards a long-term connection, towards something, you know, secure, that, you know, is something for the long term here. Let's just look at your challenge. The challenge is the Ace of Wands. That's fire energy, that's passion, that's, you know, somebody, you know, perhaps following their urges, their sexual urges. You know, that's why I keep feeling like this player energy here. And, you know, this may have been the challenge for you that kind of got in the way of the connection. Dealing with somebody who was maybe entertaining, you know, different options, because we've got the Ace of Wands here in the challenge. And a fear perhaps to let go of a certain lifestyle, a fear to commit. But I do feel that, you know, perhaps some time has passed and they're seeing things differently now. You know, the Hanged Man is about, you know, seeing things, getting a fresh perspective on things. The Hanged Man is always about an external situation that sometimes we're being asked to take a step back and get a different perspective on. So it feels to me like they are seeing you differently. The hidden influence is the Three of Cups. Some of you may have been dealing with a third party situation in this connection in the past, because, you know, the Three of Cups, it can indicate a reconciliation. And I do feel a strong energy for many of you that this might be an ex that has recently returned or an ex that's going to be returning. But it also represents 3 cups of love. And, you know, that could be the hidden influence and the challenge of, you know, this Ace of Wands. And this may be this kind of sense of loss that you're feeling. Let's get your advice from the universe. So the advice is the Star. And, you know, this is an energy of, you know, faith, healing, renewal. It can represent, you know, some kind of new beginning with this connection. But it's also an energy, I feel, of staying true to you. You know, if it is that this is somebody from your past coming back forwards, you know, with some kind of new offer for you, absolutely make sure that you stay true to you in this. No settling for less. You know, it's really important to, you know, make sure that this person is being real, that they're being authentic. The Star is, you know, about learning the lessons of a situation, which may have been exactly that. You know, this whole thing may have been about, you know, it may have been challenging, there may have been a sense of loss, but there's a big invitation here to, you know, really stay true to you, know your worth, your value, what you truly want, and making sure that your needs are met here, you know, because you deserve to have that commitment. You deserve to have what you really want here. And for those of you that it relates to, you know, this is a new person coming in, You know, what these other cards might be representing for you is letting go of, you know, this person from the past who maybe entertained other possibilities. Maybe there was a betrayal here or a third-party connection. And, you know, even though that's been a challenge, it's about understanding perhaps, you know, what were the soul lessons of that for you? And, you know, moving forwards in a more empowered energy. And that renewal may actually be you kind of letting go of whatever it is that's still holding you to that person in the past there, stepping into a new energy in yourself where you're much more in your power, which may, you know, of course, bring you in to a more healed and whole version of yourself where you can attract somebody who can mirror that back to you and really reciprocate, you know, the love that you have to give and what you have to bring to the connection. So in your outcome, we have the Knight of Cups. And, you know, this is an energy of, you know, somebody coming forwards, a new offer of love for you. You know, knights are always in pursuit of something. So when this person comes in, you know, there won't be any second guessing here. I definitely feel like it will be clear. You know, this is some kind of new offer of love coming in for you. So Sagittarius, I'm going to leave that there. We're just going to get your person's hidden message for you. So the hidden message is more for those of you that are in some kind of no contact situation here. Sagittarius, I love you. You came closer than anyone. You were the best thing in my life. I'm afraid to contact you. Sounds like someone's been reflecting. They may have some regrets. We need to let each other go. That's going to resonate for the other ones of you that this represents letting go of someone from the past, embracing someone new. I wish I could share my good news with you. So Sagittarius, I'm going to leave that there. If this reading resonated, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And as always, no matter what comes through in a reading, always trust what feels right for you moving forwards. So thanks so much for being here, and I wish you a great month ahead.